Claro que sí, mi gente linda, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Qué placer. Tenemos el gran honor de tener a una gran invitada, nuestra querida Esmeralda Enrique, que va a estar con nosotros. Nos va a explicar un poquito del evento que tiene. Es un evento que ya por varios años se viene celebrando y nos va a hablar un poquito también de su academia, de Esmeralda Enrique Spanish Dance Company. Y bueno, la vamos a recibir con un fuerte aplauso, Esmeralda. Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros el día de hoy en el programa. Y bueno, como dicen, es una bendición el poder contar con su presencia y que nos explique un poquito más de esa historia que tiene para compartir con nosotros. El aplauso para nuestra querida Esmeralda y empecemos el programa.
Gracias. Gracias. Un placer para mí estar con ustedes esta tarde. Estoy aquí porque al finales del mes de mayo, el 30 y el 31, hacemos nuestra presentación anual de la compañía Esmeralda Enrique Spanish Dance Company. Es un evento que hacemos cada año sobre el mes de mayo. Lo que pasa que este año va a ser un poco distinto porque el teatro donde normalmente desde el año 1999 estábamos presentando en ese teatro cada año, el Fleck Dance Theater en Harbourfront, ya no existe.
Oh, wow.
Entonces, sí, una pena porque ya desde finales de marzo ya no existe. Entonces tuvimos que buscar un teatro, otro teatro, y hemos podido contratar el teatro del Meridian Art Center, que en realidad es un complejo que tiene 3 teatros. Y este año vamos a estar en el Studio Theater, que es el más pequeño que tienen. Y el año que viene, el año próximo, el 2026, haremos la presentación en el Teatro Mediano. Pero por este año, el Studio Theater, siendo un teatro más pequeño, pues el formato del concierto va a ser un poco distinto. Estamos presentando 3 cortometrajes que hemos hecho durante COVID y además 2 durante COVID y 1 más recientemente que aún no se ha estrenado. Entonces, eso sería la primera parte del espectáculo, de la presentación, y la segunda parte sería el baile, la música, el cante de flamenco en vivo. Tenemos artistas de Montreal, guitarrista Caroline Planté, percusionista Miguel Medina, y de España traemos el cantador Manuel Soto, y además de los músicos de aquí, Benjamin Barile, y las 7 bailarinas o bailadoras que tenemos. Es una compañía bastante llena y con muchas ganas de presentarnos de nuevo en este teatro, que son más de 30 años que no nos presentamos en ese teatro.
Claro, claro. Bueno, muchísimas gracias por darnos esa explicación. Pero cuéntenos, usted nació en San Antonio, Texas. ¡Wow!
Exactamente, sí.
Cuéntenos cómo así trae ese don como dicen, de hacer música, especialmente de bailar flamenco. When you fell in love with the flamenco?
I began dancing as a kid, Mexican folk dance and many other different styles of dance. And when I was about 8 or 9 years old, my teacher had gone to Spain, and that summer she began teaching us some Spanish traditional dances, not folk dances, not flamenco. And with that, I realized that there was a different way of expressing that I really enjoyed. And within another 6 months or so, I began studying with another teacher who was one of the only ones there in San Antonio who taught flamenco. So it began at a very early age, and I've been constantly trying to learn more. Every year, I try and learn more, advance my abilities, my knowledge about flamenco, uh, and I just have enjoyed it. It's part of my life now.
Yeah, but Esmeralda, family-wise, who gave you the most support in your family?
My
Your
parents,
father, your mother,
both of
eh,
them,
and
both.
how they took that? It was by surprise when you told them that you fell in love with flamenco, and you wanted to pursue that activity.
It wasn't that cut and dry. I just they just saw in me that, and not just in me, and all my sisters too. We're a large family. We're 11 brothers and sisters, so they saw that we enjoyed music, we enjoyed singing, we enjoyed the dramatic arts, we enjoyed dancing, and we were always had music and dance and singing in our home. So when free classes came up that I could attend, I and my sisters could attend to learn flamenco. Well, we my mother took us, and I think she was just as much um, in love with how we loved dancing and singing and performing, that I think that is what she wanted to always give us. My father, of course, being the driver of the car, would take us back and forth almost every day to different classes.
But let me ask you: usually, when somebody falls in love with music or with art, in during that period, usually the parents, they usually ask you, well, you have to study something. You have to show me a paper at least as a backup. Did your parents advise you to follow up something else in case something happens and maybe you are not able to follow your dreams about flamenco?
No, not really.
Wow.
You have to consider that I started when I was a child, so they weren't demanding any um, other studies of me, except, of course, my school studies, the usual, and in high school also that I made good grades, and I was doing that all through the time that, at the same time, I was dancing, and not just learning to dance, but actually performing. I started performing at the age of 14. So this has always been part of like the dynamics in our family, that we have good academic grades, but we also were performers. So an opportunity came up when I was about 17 or 18 years old to join another company that was touring um, in California, well, all of the west of the United States, all the way up to Canada. And so my mother gave her blessing to me and my sister. We both went on this tour with this company. And it was like this since, that's how basically I started leaving the house for different, um, to perform with different companies, to go study and things like that. So it was, uh, yeah, I think maybe she may have been my mother may have been a bit worried that maybe I was leaving my studies behind. But in the end, when I decided to move to Spain,
But
um,
Esmeralda,
yes,
before you go away to Spain, how was that period? Your first touring with a company, and in your perspective of life, how you felt it? Being away from home. At least you have the company from your sister, but you as a teenager,
yes,
you lose the little connection with your family members. And
yes.
probably at that time we didn't have Facebook, we didn't
No,
have
no, no.
Instagram, we didn't have so it was probably a little harder to get in touch with them. How you adapt yourself to do what you love, but at the same time to don't lose connection with your family.
Yes, my sister and I would call home as often as we could, as often as we could afford. And yes, it was difficult to at the beginning. It was not. It was like an adventure, but then after a few months, you sort of start feeling homesick, and you feel like it is very difficult to be without your loved ones. So, but within the company itself, the dance company, all the dance companies that I have worked with, it seems that the artists tend, because my experience is their experience also.
Mhm.
So we all feel that we become each other's brothers and sisters. We become a family. So what we miss with our biological family, then we gain, or we make up with the friendships that we create with the other artists.
Wow. It's like a nice explanation of how you live, because I put myself in your position, being away from home and with a different kind of people, and you have to adapt yourself to the different customs of each
Yes,
of every single member, and how you guys were able to manage. Like you have to be humble, you have to be probably like put yourself in a position where you have to be either a leader or a follower to get into the group, because either if you are either into the group or out of the group, how you manage yourself to be a nice girl, or I mean to be probably like a very humble and follow all the rules, and at the same time perform, and then
yes.
at the same time trying to get in touch with your family, your sister. It was for you easy to adapt yourself, being away, especially with different members.
It was, because I have been very fortunate to have other compañeros, other members of the
Mhm.
companies, very
That they cheer you up.
lovely, yeah, very lovely people. I can't say that I have met anyone that was ever mean or distrustful. Everyone had a very open heart, and I think people that have good intentions um, uh, gather together naturally. They come together naturally. Uh, the leader of the company, one of the first company that I joined, was a very lovely person. Her husband was lovely. The whole family was beautiful. So she attracted people like that, and I really
Mm.
believe that that is part of why I've had such a beautiful career,
Experience.
beautiful journey, because I learned a lot from her, and I try not to be. I consider myself a good
Part of
person.
the family.
I think I do attract good people, people that are honest and willing to do the work and enjoy and love the art.
Perfect. So at least we were able to find out that period of time. Then you finally go away to Spain. Give
Yeah.
us a little more explanation. How was that step? First from home, from San Antonio, Texas, then California, then you go to Spain. You
Yeah.
go with your sister. You ended up going with your sister, and give us a little more info of how was that adjustment of yourself being there.
Yes. During that time, I had gone back to college. I was taking courses at the university, and my sister had joined a different dance company, a very well-known dance company, Jose Greco, and she was on tour for maybe 3 months. Towards the end of the tour, she called me and she said that she and many of the other dancers from the company were planning to go to Spain right after they finished the tour, which was going to be somewhere. They finished somewhere in New Jersey or somewhere like that. And she asked me, "Do you want to come with us?" And I said, "Yes, I do." So the next day, I just canceled all my classes. I got out of university, paid everything that I owed, and I took a Greyhound bus from San Diego all the way to
Oh
New
wow!
York. all the way to New York, all across the country, from San Diego to New York. And I met up with the company that my sister was working with, and did the final 2 or 3 performances, riding in the bus with them. We all went to Spain. We all there was my sister, myself, and 2 other dancers, and we rented an apartment from a friend of ours who also was in the company. He was one of the lead dancers, and he had a company. He was from Spain, so he had ways of he had an apartment there that he could rent to us. My time in Spain, we had only planned to be there for 3 months, for the months of over the summer. But for me, those 3 months turned into 5 years before I finally came back to visit my
Wow.
parents. I know.
Wow.
It was difficult because I got very, very homesick. During those 5 years, my sister also met her husband. She got married. She had her children. She moved away. So I was there, for the last 3 years, perhaps last 2 years, very by myself, but also with lots of people that I knew, friends and stuff, friends and other dancers. And I had lots of work. I couldn't complain about that. I would finish one contract and another was waiting for me already. So, but the loneliness, the homesickness was very strong. And I decided to stop dancing and come be with my family. And I did. I finished my contracts in Madrid, and then I came back to San Diego. And but within another 3 months, one morning, I just woke up and I thought, this is not exactly what I want. So I told my mother I was going to go back to Spain,
You're
and then
kidding me.
yeah.
Wow. So you came back, and then after a little while, probably something happened, and you decide to go back to Spain. Uh,
Nothing happened. I just could
you
not
couldn't adjust.
find. Yeah, I could not feel the fulfillment that I
Uh-huh.
felt when I was working,
On
and
Spain.
yes, yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so that part of me was like very, very aching. I was sad, I was aching. I knew I was trying to see if I could form a life without flamenco, but it just superseded my what I wanted to do. And it just I had a long talk with my mother, and I told her, this is something that I enjoy doing so much. Not only that I enjoy it, I don't just do it because I enjoy it. I do it because I know I'm good at it. I
Mhm.
know, and I learn so much from it, and I can teach it, and I know that I can do more with it than just perform.
And probably
So
bring new talent. So basically, we can say that you spent your first 5 years on Spain. You came back home, and then you decide to go back for another 8 more years up there.
yes, yes.
And how was your second time on Spain?
It was much better because by then my mindset was different. I had
Mhm,
made up my mind that I was not going to try and cancel out
mhm.
flamenco. I was not going to try to do that. I was going to embrace it and embrace the life that it would bring me, and that's how I think that helped me so much to accept it.
Wow. So during that time, so what else did it happen to your career?
Well, many tours all over Europe,
Hmm.
the Middle East. I was on my just so many things: television performances, plays, even some teaching. Is when I began teaching also.
Hmm.
Uh, my life was very full with many different projects, from like I say, from performances to teaching to television programs that I did with another company. working in the performing in the tablaos in Madrid. It was very full. I had no rest. I can remember the first year that I was there. I had only one day off. In a full year, I had only one day off. Every night I was performing. Every afternoon I was in the studios, either taking classes or teaching or doing something like that.
Esmeralda, I got a question for you. During the time, during our biological time, usually is one time when you go to sleep and you have to make a decision either to fulfill a family, or either to fulfill your career.
Mhm.
Did you ever had that problem with you, or did you ever have to make a decision in your life?
This decision was made for me in the fact that I do not have children. But my husband is very understanding and very supportive of what I do, and we support each other. It's not that I do not look after him, and we look after each other. We are a partnership that does things together. Uh, his family is very a beautiful family that I love just as much as my own.
Mhm.
So I never felt like I had to choose one thing or the other. It was always compatible with the life, my married life and my professional life, my personal life and such.
Wow. So basically, you were lucky at that moment because you ended up finding a very supportive husband, and somebody who became your partner probably
Yes.
during that time.
Yeah.
Wow. And you ended up finding that love on Spain, or basically when you decide to move here to Canada. But before we go, before I probably missed that step. So what actually happened on Spain? Well, give me those little details before you probably change, or before you finish that period of time on Spain, before we move to the next step.
Uh, like I said, my life was all dance.
Hmm.
I taught. I took classes. I performed every night, or I was in. I
Teaching.
joined different companies to do different tours. There was this is continues to be a tablao in Madrid where the owner was very sympathetic to my situation, and he liked the way I danced, and I think, more even equal to his liking of the way I performed
Hmm.
was my professionalism and my how I did everything uh, to present myself in the best way possible on stage, the best costumes that I could afford, uh, presenting myself in a very professional manner. So he was always very grateful that I kept up the tradition, even though some of the Spanish dancers sometimes did not. But so that's why whenever I was offered an opportunity for a tour, I would speak with him and I would let him know, can you give me 3 months off or 4 months off or 6 months? And when I'm done, I can come back. He said, you know that you have your house here always.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is, I must say, you
Lucky.
said before that I was lucky. I do feel that I have had a very fortunate life. When circumstances have presented themselves, I've been very lucky, um, fortunate to have uh, uh, things happen that are have benefited me, have helped me grow as an artist, have helped me grow as a person, and I do feel that I've had a very blessed life.
Wow. It's kind of nice to know all that part of your life. Well, basically, then your time on Spain finished. What was the next step? What was the next country where you needed to conquer?
Well, I actually came to Canada uh, on
On
a
a tour?
contract. No, a contract
Ah,
for six
wow.
months. A friend of mine who had her boyfriend here in Canada was supposed to get married here. He was opening a tablao, a Spanish restaurant, and she asked me to come with her. She said, you can only stay, you can stay for 6 months." I said, "No, I don't want to stay so long. 3 months, give me 3 months, and then I'll, you know." She said, "No, no, no, at least 6 months." So I gave in. I came for 6 months. I signed the contract for 6 months. We came, and the day after, well, the I think we came maybe 2 days before the opening of the restaurant, of the tablao, and the day of the opening. So that was my like second or third day here in Canada. I by chance looked out to the audience and saw the person that was to be my future husband.
Wow.
Yeah. So I tell you, everything has been so coincidental, so um, fortunate, so that I trust now everything that happens to me happens for something. It's
For
not,
a reason.
yeah, for a reason.
Wow. But okay, so basically you came here to Canada. Now you are explaining that you wanted 3 months. They said no, 6 months. You finally gave in and you said, okay, let's go for 6 months. What was the part that make you love Canada? The weather, the people. We know was your husband too.
Yeah.
He was able to give up some probably some how can we say some
Yeah.
help for you to stay here. But what was the reason probably that it makes you fall in love with Canada?
Oh, so many things. I think, well, at the beginning, of course, the weather, no. I was very, very, I actually cried a lot because my body was not used to feeling the cold.
Mhm.
So I cried a lot when the weather was very, very cold.
Cold.
It just made me very sad. But I think the people, uh, speaking just with so many different cultures from the world, it was such a wonderful thing. It was what I was used to in all my travels, going to different countries, hearing different languages, seeing different customs, eating different food. Well, I was finding all of that here in Canada, here in Toronto anyway. So I think that was what uh, made it less sad for me, that I could still,
Handle.
in a sense, see the world by living here.
Wow. Okay, so then you were able to find, let's say, some reasons to like Canada. How
Mhm.
about the food? You have to adjust yourself to some Canadian food,
Not
or you probably cook at home.
I
And
We cooked at home. My husband and I both cooked at home. Plus, his family, his sister especially, he's Italian, so I had very good Italian food all this time that I've been here. So it's, yeah, we cook a lot at home. I think we prefer that. Uh, of course, we go out when we have to go with friends and things like that. But most of the time we cook at home. But being such a multicultural city, Toronto, I can find anything, any kind of food that I like. Especially Mexican food. I can
yeah, that was
find that.
my next question. How you were able to adjust yourself, especially with liking or probably growing up eating Mexican food, then going to Spain and
Yeah.
probably trying to adjust yourself to eat something up there. Then you come here to Canada. Then you ended up marrying an Italian family. Um, wow, that's a special mix. You got pasta. You got
Yes.
some papas,
Frijoles.
yeah, frijoles. Wow, what a how you were able to adjust yourself to try to make everybody happy at the same time.
Well, at the beginning you could not find good Mexican food. I mean, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you could not. Nowadays, it is possible, but
Yes.
it took time, and so I'm a person that loves to try different styles of food. Very little food that I do not like. I'm not picky in that sense. I enjoy discovering new flavors and things like that. So it wasn't so hard for me. It was harder for my husband since he only eats Italian food. So yeah, I do love Italian food, but I love all kinds of food, like Japanese food, Vietnamese, Mexican, of course, French, all kinds of food.
Perfecto. Bueno, rápidamente, antes de que nos vayamos perdiendo un poquito, para la gente hispana que también tiene la oportunidad de mirar el programa, no se olviden, les hacemos una invitación cordial, mayo 30 al 31, desde las 8 de la noche en el Meridian Arts Center Studio Theater, en el 5040 Young Street, no se olviden, North York, y ustedes pueden adquirir sus tickets en www.flamencos.net. So, por favor, no se olviden, el día de hoy tenemos la gran oportunidad de poder hablar y conocer un poquito de su historia, de nuestra queridísima Esmeralda Enrique, que que nos está contando un poquito de esos comienzos, esa historia que en algún momento de repente nunca pensó que iba a seguir, porque siempre uno cuando uno es joven y le gusta a veces hacer algo, a veces llega un momento en que a veces uno tiene que tomar decisiones y ella nos mencionó que la vida le puso, como dicen, todo en el momento oportuno
Sí.
y hizo de que haga y disfrute de lo que más le gusta, que es el flamenco. Bueno, regresamos ahora sí a la parte de inglés. Cuéntanos, mi querida Esmeralda, you're finally in Canada. How that all start in Canada, Toronto, when with your probably contract, when you decide to start teaching, when you decide to start coming up with your Esmeralda Spanish dance company. Give us a little more info and details of how that all starts.
Well, because I came to Toronto for a 6-month contract, uh, there was quite a bit of interest in flamenco. It was still, in its infancy here in Canada, but there was an interest still. And some young women who came to see the performances uh, later asked if I could give them some classes. And that is really basically how I started my school. Besides the company, the Esmeralda Enrique Spanish Dance Company, I also direct a school, which is Academy of Spanish Dance. And so at first I would rent studio space at different studios and set up classes for flamenco. Eventually, one of the places where I was renting, the owner decided that she wanted to sell her studio, and I bought it. So, as you can see, everything just falls into place for
Into
me
place.
in my life. So I bought her studio. I expanded the classes that I taught. Uh, I must mention also that while I was in Spain, I did not just study flamenco, but I also studied el danza española, the danza estilizada, the uh, regional dances like jotas and muñeiras. So I studied every uh, aspect of a Spanish dance. So it was uh, this
Easier.
this this other knowledge that I had that I was able to expand than my the classes that I offered, and I think that was what helped me stand out from other studios.
When you finally decide to come up with these special events, and give us a little history of the old theater, and how you probably miss some momentum momentum of that theater now, and then after that, give us more info of the new theater that you are coming.
The we graduate actually we started in the studio theater, or one small studio
Mhm.
theater at
At the
U
time.
of T, but then at the studio theater at North York, and I think we were there maybe 2 years, and then finally we went to the Harborfront Center, which also has three theaters. We started in the smaller theater. After a few years, worked into the medium-sized theater. Then finally, in 1990, no, I forget the date, but we went into the larger theater, the Fleck. So it was always a
A process.
gradual, yes, because I'm not one to take very big financial uh,
Risk.
risks. If I see something has worked out well in a smaller theater, then I think, okay, maybe if we do this, we can go to a bigger theater. And little by little, we were able to build up not just our repertoire of what we present, but also the reputation of the quality of the performances. And I think the word of mouth from people that come to see our shows, I think people realize that there is quality there, that what
Mhm.
we present is something of high caliber.
During that time, how you see the response of the public? You mentioned it that they see the quality, but in your eyes, when you're performing, what can you see from the stage? And when you see all the smiley faces, sometimes probably you were able to see some kids, family members that they enjoyed your performance.
Not always do we see the faces. I personally cannot see the faces when I'm on stage, except maybe those that are at the very front rows. So I don't really see their facial reactions, but I can feel the
The
warmth.
atmosphere.
The atmosphere is very different from when and that's how I know that an audience is really paying attention and enjoying what they see and appreciating the work that we do. I I think it's besides the applause afterwards, right? But it's very gratifying when I feel that I am doing good work, right? When I know that I'm giving my best, and uh, I'm giving the best that I can, and if it's reciprocal in the sense that I feel the audience with me there, and of course in applause afterwards, it's very gratifying.
Esmeralda, what the public is expecting this May 3rd? 30. And can you give us a little info of what the public is expecting? So then, so everybody can probably mark on their calendar saying, "Wow, I have to be there."
Yeah.
She's all the time putting something new. It's a new season. It's probably it's gonna be new performers that are coming. Please mention all that for us to keep the note
Yes.
and mark it on the calendar
Yes, as I mentioned right at the
at the
onset,
beginning. Hmm.
the format is different from what we usually do. Uh, we are doing the first half of the presentation, a presentation of three uh, uh, films, short films.
Hmm.
Two were produced during COVID, and the third one was produced uh, 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 maybe about a year and a half ago. So that would be the first half of the presentation of the evening. I will present the films also, and hopefully the audience will have a short time to have to ask questions about the films that they saw. Then the second half of the evening is a live performance with seven female dancers. Our guest guitarist, Caroline Planté, and guitarist from Toronto, Miguel Benjamin Barile. We have a percussionist, Miguel Medina, also from Montreal. And our singer that has been with us for so many years that we bring yearly, his name is Manuel Soto, and he's from Spain, from Jerez de la Frontera. And our seven dancers, one is a new one that will be starting with us this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So probably a lot of things to look forward.
Yes.
For this coming event. Bueno, mi querida Esmeralda, muchísimas gracias. Sabemos que tenemos un tiempo limitado, no queremos romper el schedule. Bueno, pero te queremos agradecer por haber estado con nosotros el día de hoy. Muchísimas, muchísimas gracias. Y volvemos a repetir rápidamente, no se olviden, Esmeralda Enrique Spanish Dance Company. Vengan a celebrar mayo 30 y 31 desde las 8 de la noche en el Meridian Art Center Studio Theater, localizado en el 5040 Young Street, esto es en North York, y tickets a la venta en www.flamencos.net. Palabritas finales, mi querida Esmeralda, en español, invitar a la comunidad latina también para que venga y disfrute de este hermoso evento, 2 días, para que puedan disfrutar de todo ese hermoso programa que Esmeralda ha preparado para todos nosotros.
Pues sí, quisiera que todos los que están escuchando que puedan venir el 30 o el 31 de mayo en North York. Es un local nuevo para nosotros, o sea, nuevo después de muchos años. Espero que les guste porque es una combinación de film y presentación en vivo. Espero que vengan.
Excelente. A big shout out to Chrissy Newton. Un agradecimiento a ella y muchísimas gracias. Bueno, mi querida Esmeralda, muchísimas, muchísimas gracias. Ha sido un honor el poder haber conversado contigo y al mismo tiempo informar a la comunidad latina de este próximo evento, mayo 30 y 31. Mi querida Esmeralda, te vamos a despedir con un fuerte aplauso y muchísimas gracias por haber estado en el programa. Te me cuidas. Antes de que nos despidamos, ¿algún número en especial, algún email en especial o tus redes sociales, por favor?
Como un número, bueno, el número el website es flamencos.net.
Perfecto.
¿Verdad? Entonces allí pueden encontrar todo el programa, sí, toda la información, no solamente de la compañía, sino que también de la escuela, de las clases de baile.
Excelente, excelente. Ahora sí, nos vamos con el súper aplauso y muchísimas gracias, mi gente linda. Tuvimos el honor de tener a Esmeralda Enríquez con nosotros. El aplauso para ti. Te me cuidas y muchísimas gracias.
Gracias, adiós.
Gracias, hasta la próxima. Se me cuida, mi gente linda. Hasta la próxima.